Hello everyone, it's Sean from TaekwondoSean.com, and today we're covering Kyorugi, sparring, all the basics. Check it out. Alright guys, so today in our video, we're going to be covering basic sparring stuff. Now you're going to need one of two things. Now it doesn't have to be exactly this. You're going to need either a ring or a target to jump over. Alright? One or the other should be fine. We're going to cover exercises for both. Alright, so today we're covering sparring basics. So we're going to be looking at the sport side of Taekwondo. Now remember, our martial art has both the traditional part, the martial art, and also the sport put together. Just like the Korean flag has the red and the blue put together, ours has two parts as well. Now today we're covering the sport, so a lot of the things we're going to be doing are based on agility, are going to be based on stepping and sliding and all that kind of stuff, which is important in a self-defense situation and is important in martial arts. However, it's more important in the sports side, just like when you're playing tag with your friends or basketball or soccer or anything like that. So let's check out some exercises and some drills along with some basic techniques that's going to help you guys bring your sparring up. All right, let's dive in. Now, it's always a good idea to start with a little bit of light warming up just to get the ankles and the calves and the legs going. So we're going to be using the ring first. Now, if you don't have a ring like this, you can use your belt. You can take your belt off and put it in a circle on the ground, or you can use electrical tape like we're very fond of doing. Now what you're going to do is you're going to place the ring on the ground, and the first basic one we're going to do is we're going to jump forward and jumping back. Good, now jumping is very important because it's activating all the muscles here in the calf, in the foot, in the quads, in the butt, in the whole body, and jumping up and down like this is actually going to get my entire central nervous system activated, which is great. So forward and back is pretty important. Now side to side, make sure you guys for this basic one, keep your feet together. Try not to jump too high. It's more about jumping fast and continuously. Remember, if you guys are not old enough, we shouldn't be drinking coffee. And if you are old enough, let's drink coffee before or after Taekwondo. Or both, but not during. So, back and forth, no coffee breaks. All right, now next one, we're going to separate our feet. So what we tell the kids is your feet can't stand the smell of each other. So, as soon as one comes in, the other one leaves, and vice versa. So running forward, running back, and then you speed it up based on what you guys can do. Now the next one, side to side, same thing. Run in, run out. Run in, run out. Good, now we can upgrade the side to side one. What we can do is we can go run through and run through back. Run through and then run through back. And do it fast. All right, now let's move on to jumping jacks. Next one you can do is just basic jumping jacks. Make sure you don't jump too high and you're focusing on going quick. Good, and then you can separate the feet, so you're alternating like this. Woo. And then we have the ultimate level for the jumping jacks. Ready? 1 foot in, 2 feet out. 1 foot in, 2 feet out. Try that one. Now we also have the skiing one, so side to side, jumping back and forth. Jump, jump, and jump. Good, now you can also do this in a Kyorugi 준비, your sparring stance. Good, and then it's useful for this one to add in some switching. We'll talk about it a bit later, but you switch, slide forward, switch, slide back. When you switch your legs, make sure you switch your whole body and your arms. Slide forward, switch, slide back. Now let's add some kicking. So you use our back leg, we're going to do 앞돌려차기, the bread and butter of sparring, the front turning kick. We're going to front turning kick, step forward, slide back to reset, and our front leg's back in the ring. Kick, step forward, slide back. And then we can start going back and forth. Kick, slide, kick, slide, kick, slide, kick, slide. And then we can upgrade it to the fast kick. So here, put your back foot where your front foot was, and kick. Slide back, switch, fast kick. Slide back, switch, fast kick. Slide back, switch, fast kick. All right, next up we have our buddy here, the square target. Now it doesn't have to be a square, and it doesn't have to be a target. You can grab a pillow, you can use something at your house. Now what we're gonna do is we're trying not to put any weight on it, okay? It's a bit squishy, so we tell the kids it's their lunchbox. And your parents made this lunch for you, it's got the cute little note in it, and if you squish it, you're gonna break it. So, put 1 foot on, and then jump, other side, jump, other side. Let me speed it up. Good, and focus, remember, on control and also coordination, and bringing up that agility. And then you do the same thing going forward and back. Touch, touch, Make sure the kids start using their arms. Make sure you guys start using your arms for this one. And it's going to help when you guys start doing doubles and what we call the machine gun at our dojang, which could be multiple front turning kicks. Pa, 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 pa. All right, so we're going to start with the basics. All right, so every sparring stance starts with a chayat and bow. And then we face our opponent, and we enter our Kyorugi chumbi, our sparring stance. Now let's go over sparring stance a little bit. So what we're going to do is open our legs, maybe punching stance width, and what we're going to do is bend our knees and hands in front like this. Now this allows me to block and protect my upper body and my lower body, and it allows me a lot of mobility. I have my triangle here on the bottom. It allows me to go forward, backwards, side to side, kick, slide, whatever I want to do. I can do it from this nice, comfortable, balanced stance. Now from here, we bounce. Good. Now we've already covered the switch in the warm-up, but let's just cover it a little bit here. We want to switch while staying as close to the ground as we can, almost like we're sliding. And we want to make sure we try to switch not on the up jump, but on the down jump. So here, 1, 2, 3, switch, 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 switch. Good. So you can practice switching, make sure it's quick, and make sure it's low to the ground, make sure you don't jump too high. All right, next one, we're going to be sliding. So if you're being aggressive where you have to close some distance, we have sliding forward. Now you're going to push off your back leg here and make sure you don't bring your feet close together when you do your sliding. We're going to slide forward. And then they're sliding backwards. Someone's attacking you, or they're too close for your comfort. You want to increase the distance between you. You slide back. And then you're bouncing. You slide back. Slide forward. Slide forward. Slide back. Slide back. And then you can switch and do the other leg. Sliding forward. Slide forward, sliding back, sliding back. Now, a word of warning in your sparring stance. Make sure my feet are not sideways, and my feet are definitely not ducked. Now, what we want to do instead is have all 10 toes facing the front half of the room. Okay? The back foot can be on just the slightest angle forward, but that's going to increase your ability to stop your ankle from rolling sideways. It's happened a couple of times where students have been sliding back and then the ankle rolls, and then we don't see that practitioner for a little while because they're recovering from an ankle injury. So make sure you guys pivot this foot slightly forward, and then we're jumping. It also makes it easier when you go to kick. Instead of having to turn and then go, you can just go right away for the kick. All right, so let's talk about attacking now. All right, we know how to slide, we know how to switch. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about front leg attacking and back leg attacking. So the front leg attack is closer range because I can't reach as far. I can only kick what's directly in front of me. Now, the front leg is good for an attack, reaching into the opponent. It's also good for a defensive strike. If someone's coming towards me and charging, I can just bring my leg up and kick them as they enter my range. Because they're the ones that are entering the danger zone, not me. I have some options, whereas they're the one that's taking the risk and taking that adventure. Now, I can also use it aggressively with a fast kick, sliding forward. Now, the back leg has more reach, and the back leg will have more speed and power. So let's say they're a little bit closer, and I can swing in with my back leg here, pow! The back leg is also good. If we're jumping backwards in defense, I can do a front turning kick. Now the back leg is also where I can launch the 180 kick, which gives me more points. It can also launch the back kick from here. There's so many things I can do with my back leg as well as my front leg. So it just depends on the situation. Are you sparring somebody that's going to be charging you a lot? That's going to be a lot of front leg stuff, or defensive back kick. Or let's say they're not very aggressive. They want to counter everything you do. So now you got to use more front leg and you got to charge in. So make sure you vary your skills depending on your opponent. Make sure you figure out the opponent right away. Usually in the first round of 1 minute, you figure out the opponent, then you take your rest, your coach tells you what to do, you get all pumped up. In the second round, we put it to the wall. All right, so let's talk legs. So we have a front leg and a back leg. The front leg is really good for quick strikes. I don't have to turn my body, I don't have to pivot, all I do is bring it up. So the front leg is good if they enter my range for some reason. Maybe they're faking, maybe they're about to do a kick. I can kick them first. The front kick is also good for when I want to attack. I can use my fast kick. So without pivoting my body, I can bring my leg up right away. So it's very useful to use my front leg sometimes. Now my back leg is also really good because it's going to have more speed. By turning and driving it up, I'm going to generate more speed and more power with a front turning kick with my back leg. Okay, now the back leg though, it takes a little bit longer to get there. So usually I want the back leg to be in the middle or the end of my combination. I usually want to kick and start with my front leg first. Now the back leg is also where I can launch my back kick. The back leg is also where I can launch my 180. And the back leg is where I usually want my balance when I'm going to use my front leg like this. And to be honest, these days in sparring, it's a lot of front leg fencing in the Olympics and everything. So just make sure we really practice our front leg, but also the back leg, because you never know when they're going to change the rules. And we might have that old school sparring where it was nothing but double, 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 back turning kick, knockouts. So make sure you guys practice. You need the tools ready, both front leg and back leg. All right, so let's talk points. Now, in sparring, at least right now, when the opponent is coming in and charging in, if I execute my middle punch here and my arm becomes fully extended, number one, I key up loudly, the referee sees it, and I either stop them or move them backwards with my punch, I have, with all that work and effort, 1 point. So punching is not as, I wouldn't say effective, but it's not as popular in Taekwondo sparring as kicking is, obviously. So the kick, the front turning kick, the most basic kick in Taekwondo is going to give you 2 points. Any body kick with the top of the foot, 2 points. Unless you spin. As soon as you start any spinning kick to the body, it jumps to 4. So if you're doing a back kick, if you're doing a 180, the dorge chagi, you guys are going to be getting 4 points instead of 2. So that's actually pretty good. Now, let's say we go for the head with a front turning kick. Pow! Let's say we go for the outside to inside, the inside to outside. Let's say we do a back turning kick. Actually, no, back turning kick spinning. Hold on. So any regular kick to the head is going to yield you 3 points. Now, if you want 5 points, the maximum, that's where the back turning kick comes in. That's where the 180 comes in. If you do a 360 and you hit the head, you guys are getting 5 points. That's so exciting. Am I right? So, 1 punch. 2 points, body kick without spinning. 3 points, head kick without spinning. 4 points, body kick with spinning. Back kick, 180. And then back turning kick, 180. Back kick to the head for 5 points. Maximum points, and usually maximum damage. All right, so there you go. That's the point system. Now remember, it changes every now and then. So by the time you guys are watching this video, then make sure that you guys do your research and make sure it's still that point system, or maybe it's an even better point system. All right, now every basic beginning Taekwondo practitioner learns 3 of the most important blocks. Orgul maki, momtom maki, are maki. Now in sparring, you can take that high block, that orgul maki, throw it in the garbage. You could take that middle block, momtom maki, throw it in the recycling. You don't need it. All you need in basic sparring, especially the color belt sparring, is the good old down block. All right? Now here's the reason. If I'm wearing my chest guard, my hogu, and I do a down block, I'm covering the entire length of the hogu. My middle block, they can still get under it. My high block, I'm not covering any of my hogu. My down block covers the entire chest guard and my hips. Excellent. Now when you guys get to the black belt level and you're over the age of 12 or 12 or older, then all of a sudden we have to start protecting our head. So you have a couple of options for that. Again, you have the down block, but at this level, let's start opening our hands so we can push things away. And then we also can cover our head like this. Now the benefit of doing it like this is I can easily push away with this hand, and I can also protect my neck. So even though it's an accident, sometimes we get kicked somewhere where we're not supposed to, and we can sustain damage or injuries, which actually might knock us out of the fight, which would be unfair, but it happens, right? It's not lucky. So if you guys can protect yourself properly, this is gonna help you protect your body in case they go for the body shot, and also the head, if they go for the head, as well as protecting some vital spots on the side of your upper body. Now there's other ways to block your head. You can just raise your arm up. You can put your arms out like this. There's lots of ways to block in Taekwondo sparring. However, the most useful, the most effective would be to block like this, or if you're a color belt, just a regular down block like this. All right? Now there's other ways to use your body to avoid kicks. So not necessarily blocking or sliding. So in Taekwondo sparring, we're leaning back. When you go for a kick, sometimes you lean back. Because if they're going for a kick at the same time and you're leaning back, your head's further away so they can't reach it. Your chest guard's on a bit more of an angle, so it might be a glancing blow. So there's different things you can do with your body, with Taekwondo sparring, that'll help you guys to avoid points going to the opponent. All right, so let's talk penalties here for a moment. So now every penalty yields a point for the opponent. So let's say I kick you in the lower body. All of a sudden, you're gonna get a point. So I lost a point. Now let's say I am going to kick, but I fall down. They have to stop the match. You get a point, AKA I lost a point. So all of a sudden you're getting all these points because I'm doing something wrong or I do something that's not right. If I punch you in the spine area on purpose, you get a point. If I kick you in the back of the head or the spine too hard, you get a point. If I bring my foot up like foot fencing, and I don't do anything for 3 seconds, you get a point. If I'm purposefully not doing anything and I'm just holding my stance and just like looking at you, having a staring contest in the middle of the Olympics, you're gonna get a point. So any kind of penalty in Taekwondo, automatically, the opponent is gonna get the point. Just so that we're avoiding making bad decisions, and the WTF, the WT, the World Taekwondo, has wanted to make the sport more exciting. So there's no more waiting too much, there's no more foot fencing, so all of a sudden there's a lot of rules now you gotta follow, and it makes the sport more interesting and more exciting. So make sure you guys know what to do so you don't get any penalties. Let's end the match with none. Or I guess some people do it strategically, but that'd be unfair, that'd be, dishonest. I thought martial arts was about courtesy and integrity and perseverance and indomitable spirit and self-control. But anyway, I'm ranting. Let's talk about another concept, blocking and sliding at the same time. Bliding, slocking, whatever you want to call it. So sliding is great because I'm able to avoid the opponent and then re-attack. But what if the opponent kicks twice? Or what if the opponent brings his leg up to kick and then they slide forward? All of a sudden, my slide wasn't enough. So if we block while we slide, we increase the likelihood that we're going to deflect and avoid any attacks or any points going to my opponent, and then I can re-attack and get the points for sure. So what we're going to do, we're going to have our sparring stance here, we'll be bouncing. Now as we slide, we're going to drop that front arm to block. And then we can switch, slide and block the arm. Slide. You can also do the black belt level where we're covering the head. So from here, slide. From here, slide. Other side, slide back. Now sliding in Taekwondo, you don't have to always go forward and back. Remember, we're not a Super Nintendo, we're not an original Nintendo system, we're Nintendo 64, we're the Switch, we're 3D, we're going all over the place. So make sure you guys are here. You can slide this way, you can slide this way, you can slide on an angle, you can slide towards the opponent, you can slide towards the opponent on an angle and then re-attack. You can block while you slide with the opposite arm. Blocking is not limited to the same side, and sliding is not limited to forward and back. So just make sure you guys use the entire ring when you guys are sparring. And then you guys are going to be even better with your spacing and your timing and your re-attacks and everything. Sliding is so important. Blocking is so important. And then attacking is so important. Stepping is so important. And how you do your combinations is so important. So make sure you guys practice the basics enough so that when you need it, all you have to do is reach in and there's the tool and you can use it right away. Instead of reaching in and saying, oh, how do I use this again? And then all of a sudden your opponent is going to win the match. So if you practice enough that your body knows what to do, how to slide properly, how to block properly, how to re-attack properly, how to attack properly, how to step, then your opponent will know right away, I'm not going to mess with this person. And number two, you're going to be ready for the sparring match. All right, now let's talk exercises that are going to help you with sparring, and specifically the Kyorugi muscles. We'll start with today, jumping jacks. Make sure you open and close. Now the reason for fully opening and closing your arms is to activate your shoulders and your upper body, because there is punches, there are blocks, and when you slide you are using the upper body a lot, so you got to wake it up. Along with your legs, when you open, you're using the hip flexors on the outside, and closing, you're using this muscle to pull them back in, which are also very important muscles when you're sparring. So jumping jacks are A+. Another good thing for sparring is a skip rope. And you can skip rope normally like this, or you can start bringing one knee up at a time. You can skip in your sparring stance. There's a lot of things you can do with a skipping rope, just like in boxing. You saw Rocky doing skip rope and everything. So it's very useful for sparring in really any combat martial art. Another great exercise for sparring is the burpee. If you guys do burpees, tons and tons of burpees, it's going to strengthen your legs. It's going to strengthen your heart, your lungs, your arms, your back, your core, everything. So make sure, feet in, feet out, go down, come up, jump up as high as you can. And then you do that sets, maybe 12, 3 sets, or you do 20 and do 2 sets. It's up to you. Just make sure you're always improving, always growing that number so that you can make everything inside strong and ready for sparring. Now, a lot of practitioners also think that practicing sparring or the sport versus practicing the martial art are completely different things. But let's be real here. What do you use to practice both? What's the biggest tool that we have? It's our bodies. Now, when we're doing a sport, isn't soccer good for your health? Isn't riding bikes good for your health? Isn't basketball good for your health? So the sport of Taekwondo is good for your health. It's going to increase all the muscles that we use in every part of sparring, and also Taekwondo. And let's say the martial art, we're doing pumse, board breaking, we're practicing forms, we're practicing sparring, blocking, attacking. Aren't those skills going to cross with Taekwondo sparring? So isn't it beneficial to practice both? Isn't it good to know how to kick fast and light with good aim and good accuracy, but also kick strong and hard with isn't it also beneficial to have all the muscles from both crossing over, having both the mentality of never giving up and all the courtesy and integrity and everything cross over onto the mats in the ring, as well as in the dochang? I think, in my opinion, if you're gonna practice Taekwondo, you gotta practice all of it. Do the sport, you're gonna love it. Do the martial art, you're gonna love it. And both parts are gonna help you become a bigger whole, because we're trying to train a whole system. We're trying to train a whole human being here. So that's why we train throwing, falling, rolling, sparring, kicking, jumping, blocking, attacking, all that kind of stuff, the self-defense, everything. Taekwondo is that martial art that has everything. And there's so many good martial arts out there. So just make sure you don't want to pick only sparring sport, and you don't want to do only the martial art without the sport. It's really good to have both. But I guess if you're going to go to a high level in either one, then you probably have to specialize maybe a little bit. And there you have it. That's all the basics of Kyorugi, sparring, attacking, the point system, countering, sliding, stepping. We had blocking. We talked about some jumping we can do, some exercises, all that kind of stuff. So if you guys practice all the things in the video, you're definitely going to take your sparring and level it up. All right? So make sure you can train consistently, train hard, and we'll see you guys on the mats.